got a massive show for you today, packed with breaking news and major developments shaking up the Bitcoin world.
Meanwhile, Tether's making a bold move, bringing USDT to the Bitcoin Lightning Network, with stablecoins now moving at lightning speed. What does this mean for Bitcoin's role in global payments and the future of on-chain liquidity?
The Bitcoin Spot ETF just got a major upgrade. IBIT is enabling in-kind redemptions. This could supercharge institutional demand. Will this move push Bitcoin even further into Wall Street's grasp?
And a huge win for Bitcoin regulations. SAB 121 is officially repealed. What does this mean for banks and Bitcoin custody?
Finally, the idea of a Bitcoin strategic reserve is gaining serious traction. With global economic uncertainty, is it time for nations to start stockpiling Bitcoin like digital gold?
And Michael Saylor just landed the cover of Forbes magazine, cementing his status as the face of Bitcoin's institutional revolution. What does this mean for mainstream adoption and corporate Bitcoin strategies?
This is the kind of show you don't want to miss. We're breaking down the biggest headlines, the game-changing moves with guests like Eric Weiss, Shapiro, and Robin Nakamoto.
So hit the like and subscribe button and stay locked in, because this is BitcoinCenter and we're hashing out the future of Bitcoin right now.
Eric Weiss, thank you for joining us for this edition of Quant Corner. How do you see the repeal of SAB 121 impacting the broader Bitcoin market, particularly in terms of price appreciation for Bitcoin?
Thanks for having me. Yeah, this is a really big deal. I think it's difficult to overstate just how significant this is. SAB 121 ostensibly said that it didn't say banks can't custody crypto, but it made it virtually impossible for them to do it, because in order to custody any crypto for a customer, they had to hold in reserves an equal amount, of another asset, cash, right? So if you want to custody $1 billion of Bitcoin for a client, you have to hold $1 billion in cash on your balance sheet. And, the Bitcoin that you hold is considered a liability, and the asset is not really considered an asset for like accounting standards in banking. So it was purely punitive, right? Expanding the balance sheet, screwing up all their ratios. So no bank was going to do that. That was the intention of it from the SEC, was to stop banks from custodying crypto. And then what happened was Congress took this up in the United States and said, we don't think this is fair. Banks want to custody crypto. And what people anticipated happening was that the Democrats would vote in line with the SEC and the administration and uphold SAB 121, and the Republicans would vote to repeal it. But that's not what happened at all. What happened was the Democrats voted to repeal it as well, mainstream Democrats like Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi types. And this kind of blew people's minds. And it got to Biden's desk, and Biden vetoed it. And Trump saw this, and he saw the outrage over this, and that there were tens of millions of people in the United States who were fairly single issue voters who were outraged by this and realized there were millions of votes to be pro-crypto, no votes to be against it. And that was the catalyst for Trump really coming on board. But specifically to your question, the beauty of this is now that SAB 122 has come in, which ostensibly repeals SAB 121, it means that banks can now custody crypto. And that is a massive, massive catalyst for the price appreciation in Bitcoin and other digital assets. And the reason is, I use the example of residential real estate. What would the price of residential real estate in the United States be if you couldn't get a mortgage on your home, right? If you can't borrow against an asset, the price of the asset stays low. Once banks will custody your assets, your crypto assets, you will be able to borrow against them. You may be able to receive interest on them. That's what banks do, right? So it's a massive, massive catalyst. I think there'll be a lag. Custody of digital assets in a secure way is not something that banks can flip a switch and do. So, there'll be a period of, 12 to 36 months where we go up this curve and more banks start custodying.
Right. You can really see how that could relieve sell pressure in the short term going forward. What are your thoughts on how this repeal will influence the role of traditional financial institutions in the Bitcoin custody space?
Traditional finance wants in on crypto, period. The cynical person would say traditional finance missed the crypto wave, and then the way they got back into it was slam a whole bunch of regulation against the space, knock it down, and add some complexity for compliance that only they're in a position to do. And now they kind of not own the industry, but they have a significant role in the industry. So I think what we're going to see the next chapter is we're going to see a lot of crypto native custody solutions get acquired by banks and financial institutions, because growing your own takes time, money, and expertise. And so they're going to find ones that are out there and they're going to gobble them up. And then, tomorrow XYZ Bank will be able to offer custody because they acquired, one of the players in this space.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what that process looks like and what strategies they deploy. What do you anticipate will be the next regulatory or policy steps following the repeal of SAB 121, especially under the current administration?
Yeah, so I don't think it's going to pertain to Bitcoin. Regulation and policy, generally what you want is clarity. And we have clarity on Bitcoin. So all you want really, good regulation, is tell me the rules of the road and then get out of the way and then enforce the rules of the road. So once Bitcoin got the ETFs, we crossed that regulatory chasm into legitimacy that can't be taken back in the United States. Bitcoin is, subsequently in the hands of pension funds, endowment funds, retirement accounts. You're not putting that genie back in the bottle, right? So that was the significance of the ETF, was crossing that regulatory chasm. So I don't think we're going to see too much on that front. However, you've got all these other digital assets, be they crypto securities, cryptocurrencies, tokens, utility tokens, et cetera. And what we're going to see next is a framework, I think, under David Sachs and this crypto council. David is the right guy for this, very knowledgeable, been in the space a long time, very pragmatic. I'm excited to see what he does. And I think the logical way forward is for someone to lay out the rules of the road. This is how you become a legitimate, crypto security. This is how you become a legitimate crypto commodity, et cetera. And then once existing projects and new projects can follow those paths to legitimacy and compliance, then I think you're going to see institutional capital really come flowing into the space.
Awesome. Eric Weiss, thank you for joining us on Quant Corner. This is BitcoinCenter.
Always a pleasure, Cedric.
Zach Shapiro, welcome to Inside Bitcoin.
Thanks for having me.
So Roman Storm, one of the founders of Tornado Cash, recently posted, "I'm being prosecuted for writing open source code that enables private crypto transactions in a completely non-custodial manner." For those who are unfamiliar with this case, can you give us just a really high-level overview?
Yeah, absolutely. So Roman Storm created an Ethereum privacy tool called Tornado Cash, which allows users to use a smart contract to spend Ethereum in a private manner, but also a non-custodial manner. The users ultimately have the keys to their Ethereum. The tool was allegedly used by bad actors for money laundering, and the government is now prosecuting Roman Storm for creating the tool that the bad actors allegedly used.
So Zach, with this being an Ethereum smart contract, how is this impacting Bitcoiners, and why should Bitcoiners care?
The central legal issue in the Tornado Cash case is whether the Bank Secrecy Act, which requires KYC AML, applies to non-custodial tools or custodial tools. If the Bank Secrecy Act applies to non-custodial tools, like the government is contending in Tornado Cash, this would apply to lots of different types of Bitcoin tools, including coin joins, Lightning routing nodes, perhaps regular Bitcoin nodes, Bitcoin miners, et cetera, including many of these actors that literally can't comply with the KYC AML rules. For example, miners or public nodes just don't know who are doing the transactions. And so the worst case scenario from the Tornado Cash case is an effective ban on sovereign use of non-custodial Bitcoin tools. And so this is of the utmost importance for those building in the Bitcoin ecosystem and using non-custodial Bitcoin-based tools.
So Zach, when I think about this issue of privacy, do you believe that there's any sort of pathway for a builder today to build privacy tools without having the government and regulators breathing down their back?
Yes, the devil is in the details here. So, if you're someone who's building a privacy tool, you definitely want to have a lawyer who understands this issue and can help guide you. But while the precedent that the Tornado Cash and Samurai Wallet cases could set is incredibly damaging and sweeping, we're not there yet. And so, the state of the art today in terms of where the regulations are do allow at least for some on-chain privacy. The key being it really does need to be non-custodial, and you need to not be in control of other people's money.
There's no doubt it's a really important topic. How can Bitcoiners keep up to date with what's happening and follow and support the efforts that you guys are making?
For sure. So definitely follow either on social media or on our website, the Bitcoin Policy Institute, which is a Bitcoin-focused think tank in DC, where we are doing our best to educate lawmakers on these issues and get the right regulations passed. You can also go to p2prights.org for the Peer-to-Peer Rights Fund, where we're directly getting involved in civil and criminal court cases that involve this specific issue, and you can donate on a tax-deductible basis.
Awesome. Thank you for being a part of Inside Bitcoin, and keep up the good work. Thanks, Zach.
My pleasure.
Robin Nakamoto, one of the DJs at Saylor's 100K Bitcoin New Year's Eve party. Thanks for joining us on Pleb of the Week.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Robin, I was just in your X profile and I saw the WBTC meme. So who's in charge here? Is it Barron or is it Trump?
It's definitely Barron. Well, he's in charge of a young crowd, as he always said, right? I'm pretty sure he helped President Trump to win the youngsters. So, yes.
What do you think Barron would be saying to Trump today?
Oh, definitely. Say XRP is a shitcoin.
That's great.
Thank you for that.
That's okay.
You famously started calling for 100K in November. Where do you think we are headed or going now?
250 this year, 250K.
250. That's
no doubt, yes.
You don't think that's too low?
At least 250.
At least that's your bare minimum.
Bare minimum, yeah.
If MicroStrategy gets 10 billion shares out the door, where do we go from there? Or 10 million shares, sorry.
500,000, a good 500,000.
We're going to double from there, said.
Wow.
Yeah.
So my last question for you, our last question is, what was it like DJing at Saylor's party?
It was awesome. I've never been to a party where Bitcoiners, hot girls, and a lot of very, very intelligent and clever people were in the same place. And it was cool. Nobody minded about, people really didn't care about old coins and stuff. Like, it was a very cool place to be.
Can you share a highlight or a favorite memory?
When I saw Michael for the first time, he's so humble. He's a great person. Like, you see him, you don't expect him to be a billionaire. I thank him for having me there because he flew me there, and he said, "No, thank you for coming all the way here." Truly, truly great person. I think is probably misunderstood because the way he speaks and things he says, but just that's the way it is. It's a little bit like all of us, a little bit autistic, if you want, in a good way. He's a great person.
You're traveling through Europe right now?
I'm in Europe right now. For now.
Is Europe embracing Bitcoin, or did they have some catching up to do?
No, not at all. It's Europe is embracing Bitcoin as much as they're embracing AI. They are spending time in regulating stuff before embracing them. So yeah, sadly.
Sad to hear. Thank you so much, Robin, for joining us on Pleb of the Week. It's been dope.
No problem. Thank you for having me, guys.
Thanks. All right, guys, this is the rundown. You know the drill. 6 topics. Cedric and I either agree or disagree. We got 45 seconds. Let's hash it out.
Up first, DeepSeek, Paul.
DeepSeek, I think it's fine as long as you're running it on your own device and you're not feeding your data to it. I mean, it's another competitor. It's lowering the cost of AI. Let's go.
Yeah, I think the bigger question is this going to deep six the economy, the NASDAQ economy we're building here with the FANG 7?
Well, yeah, but the big 5, 6, 7, wherever they are these days, they're all doing it. They're all going to kill themselves then.
Do we see a steep decline in the market? In the
that was like a little core, like you get a little downdraft, and that's the media trying to make a big deal out of it. This is a nothing burger.
Do you think Americans are going to adopt this technology? I mean, I'm not loading my information into this thing.
No, but I know that a lot of people in our in our dev team, they're playing with all these things. So I just think it's another player on the scene. And... All right, IBIT, in-kind redemptions. What do you think, Cedric?
On one hand, I think it's great for Bitcoiners. I think it's a really big move forward for the market. I think it shows a lot of good faith, but I worry that people are not going to self-custody, and they're going to be like, hey, great, I could always get it back down the road. Why do I have to hold my own keys? No,
I think you're right, but at least there are opportunities to hold your keys. If chatter of a 6102 starts to rise, people will figure it out. At least they got the option. I think this is a win. I think it's going to force Fidelity and others to get on board. So I like this. I like this a lot.
Are there tax implications? Do you get to withdraw your
An in-kind redemption? I don't think so. I mean, this is like you got your cost basis and you're pulling your Bitcoin out.
Yeah, I mean, that's really wild, especially in terms of things like inheritance.
Or
again,
RMDs.
I don't know. Is Wall Street putting their claws on Bitcoin, though?
And
Up
your
next,
time is up. Go.
speaking of
SAB
Wall
121.
Street, SAB 121, the repeal of. What do you think about that?
I don't think it's as big of a deal as everybody's making it out to be, because there's a lot of other bank regulators that have to get involved before they know how much they can custody, how much is there going to be rehypothecation, how many other, how much dollars and treasuries do they have to have on deposit relative to how much Bitcoin they hold. A lot of other questions that still need to be answered. Nothing's happening fast.
Yeah, but I thought this was incredibly bullish. I mean, this is another reason that relieves a lot of sell pressure. Why sell when down the road you could just borrow against?
No, 100%. I think long-term, this is great. I just don't think it's bullish at the moment. There's a lot of work to be done before this really catches on.
I do think Bitcoiners have to be really careful with their keys, though, here. Again, I think it's very bullish for Bitcoin price. All right. Careful with your keys.
Saylor on the cover of Forbes magazine. What do you make of this?
I mean, it's kind of a rock star moment. I mean, with the repeal of SAB 121, with IBIT, with how successful MicroStrategy's been as a stock, and all the innovation he's doing on the market. I think it's a nice crowning achievement for him.
It's also a death knell. Like, you don't ever want to be on the cover of Times or Forbes when the market's booming. So that's not good for markets traditionally, but at least it's not a shitcoiner. And at least we're really just starting to break out of consolidation. So I think if this is a top, it's an early signal to a top, not an immediate.
Does this sort of like signal a change in mainstream approach to, Bitcoin and Bitcoin standard companies? Are they seeing it differently? Up next, your favorite coin, Tether, right?
Well, not my favorite coin, but it's the #1 trading pair with Bitcoin, right? And Tether on Lightning is massive. Okay, Lightning has struggled because of liquidity. How much volume can you pass through each node? With Tether getting involved, we're going to increase the volume. With what Blockspaces is doing with DLCs between master nodes that are giant, we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars in these nodes. This is going to increase the liquidity across the Lightning Network in a huge way, and I think this is massively bullish for Lightning.
I'm not sure I understand this at all. Why are Bitcoiners pouring all this energy and technical ability into getting the dollar on Bitcoin? How is it good for Bitcoin?
It's good for Bitcoin because it's a primary trading pair. So if your primary trading pair can now move off chain at light speed at the lowest possible cost.
Is that really what we want Bitcoiners to focus on, trading with the USD though? Is this sort of like, I get that it's monetary transactions, but why are we fighting to bring this on layer 2?
It's the traders that provide the liquidity. It's the traders that provide the liquidity for us hodlers, so it's a good thing. XRP, garlic bread.
Okay, I just found out about this before the show. That what is this, his new nickname or something? I think I'm with you. I'm insulted because I like garlic bread a lot. We eat it a lot at home. We went with like garlic breath or something.
This is soggy garlic bread. This is garlic bread that got soaked in the meat juice and it's just become a pile of mush on your plate. XRP is a bunch of garbage. I printed up a chart on X of XRP price to Bitcoin. You can see every pump, every dump. Every pump has got less and less and less and less and less relative to the price of Bitcoin. If you own XRP, you are supporting the state, and you missed the boat on removing money from the state. Get out of XRP, put it back in Bitcoin, and get your act together. All right, guys, that's a wrap. Pay attention to the signal, not the noise. XRP, Cardano, you name it, it's all a distraction. You need to stack sats. That's the path to wealth. That's where you need to focus. That saves America, and that saves you.
Not your keys, not your cheese. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. See you next week on BitcoinCenter.